All right, today Peruvian Jones continues his talk about racism and discrimination to the indigenous people of Iquitos, Peru.
Well, racism and discrimination is not as severe as it was 22 years ago when I first arrived in Iquitos. But make no doubt about it, it still exists. It still exists big time. A good example of that happened I think it was about 3 years ago. I was sitting outside my house for abandoned children, and it was a glorious day. It was beautiful. And I was reading La Región. Now, La Región is the newspaper in Iquitos that covers the goings on in the Amazon rainforest. And what captured my eye was there's an article in this newspaper about how a group of indigenous people in a jungle town, it must have been about 200 miles outside of Iquitos. This group of indigenous people had attacked the Peruvian military, had attacked a platoon of Peruvian military. Now, did this group have a tank? No. Well, they had to have something. Did they have a bazooka or a recoilless rifle? Nope. Well, what about machine guns? Surely they had some type of automatic weapons, such as a machine gun. No. Then they must have had some automatic weapons that they held in their hand. That didn't happen either. Well, pray tell, what kind of weapons did they have? They had bows and arrows. And you can imagine the consequence of this attack. Several people were killed and a number of them wounded. What would cause people, what would make them so angry? Don't make that furious. What would make them so furious that they would attack a modern military? Well, I guess if you'd had your fishing waters contaminated and you could no longer feed your family, you'd be desperate too. There's probably several investigative reporters listening to me as I speak. You've got a great story here, guys. A wonderful story. If you've got the guts to write it.
Thank you, Leon. And as a former investigative reporter myself, I also encourage any of you investigative reporters. I was with both CBS News and Post Newsweek. I suggest you get out there and find out what's going on in the indigenous forests.